Joining us is the main man with the awesome head of hair and the amazing shot. His name's Tim Legler. He does the show with our guy Adam Mars, ALLCITY NBA. Thanks for joining us, Tim. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. How are you? How are things?
I'm a Bulls fan, so I got a lot of emotions right now. But let's get into it, man.
Right.
Zach, the trade finally happened. We kind of alluded to it yesterday when I was speaking to you on the watch along. But the Bulls, we talked about how the Bulls should be doing everything, have all their phones out, make any deal that they need to get, some of these players off the team. They made the deal in getting Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings for, some players in return in a 3-team trade. They sent De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. What did you think about this trade? Did you like it? And are you surprised the Bulls haven't done anything else?
Yeah, very surprised I haven't done anything else. Look, I don't know that necessarily got back what you would hope for a guy of Zach LaVine's stature, and he's going to go to a team, and he's going to help them. And I think they're going to be a team that's playing every night to win and be competitive in Sacramento. So you might have to watch him the rest of the year playing important games if you're a Bulls fan. And that's not really the case with their roster. This is clearly about, I guess, what the next thing's going to be. I am surprised that there weren't more guys moved, particularly Vucevic. I would like to know what the conversations were around him, because he has interest because of his ability to stretch the floor. And there are teams that were looking for bigs that could score from the perimeter for their spacing, and nothing happened, and he's still there. So they got a weird mix of guys, man. There's some teams that get caught in NBA purgatory. I think Chicago's in that boat right now. They've got some veteran guys that still want to play, put up numbers, get their touches, their shots that matters. Then they got young guys. They got to try to see who they are and let them develop. Then they got other young guys, like a guy like Buzelis, who is clearly going to be, I think, part of the future, who really needs to get extended run and opportunities to blossom here at the end of the year. So it's really difficult for the coaching staff and the fan base when this is the boat you're in. Some young guys really are auditioning. Some young guys are the future, but you got to live with the growing pains. And then you got some veteran guys around too that still want to play and they want to be important, but that it's not really in a competitive mindset. So it's a tough situation all the way around when you're in this particular spot from an organizational standpoint.
Yeah, it feels like they're pushing and pulling at the same time and just not choosing a direction. When you say that you're surprised by not making any moves, and we talked about Vucevic, we thought that he would be a part of it. But as far as other players on this team, I mean, the Kobe Whites and the Ayo Dosunmus and those kind of guys that are left here, did that surprise you that those guys didn't get moved either? Or was it just more so, look, you got to get off of Zach and you got to get off of Vooch, and then you can really start your process of, heading towards the bottom?
Yeah, to me, that's what it was really all about, because they were the guys with the most years in the league. They were the guys that still produce at a high level. They're talented players, so it's easy to wrap your head around some team that's in the mix. That's maybe a playoff team or maybe a lower end playoff team, thinking that this could really elevate them and make them more competitive in their respective conference. Those two guys were the guys that were going to move the needle on that, and because of their ages, made the most sense. Some of these younger guys, like a guy like Kobe White, he's had a very good year. So it's like, and he's young. It's like, I don't know, do they view him as a piece that they want to go forward with? It was easier to see with Vucevic and LaVine that probably wasn't the case, because the mindset was changing to getting younger and looking out into the future. And those are the kind of guys that you're not going to have on your roster to be a part of that. So that's why I was really focused on them. And they didn't get as much back for LaVine as I would have hoped, and they didn't move Vucevic at all. So I don't know how Bulls fans really feel about what they accomplished here at the deadline.
And one more thing about Zach. How do you like Zach in Sacramento getting back with DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, look, I mean, the guy can play, and I think any of these guys, they're going to be energized by just every night showing up to the arena, and it matters more, and that's kind of what's going on there now. He's going to help them, man. He can move because he can play without the ball pretty effectively. He doesn't need to pound the basketball to be effective. And so the ball is already going to be in Sabonis' hands a lot. DeMar's going to have the ball a lot. Of course, they moved on from De'Aaron Fox, which was interesting. There's opportunities to handle the ball, but Zach LaVine can fit in and blend in because of his shooting ability. So I think he's going to play well for them.
You mentioned the only thing that kind of gives us hope around here, as I call him, the last beer in the fridge, in Matas Buzelis. He's shown that he looks like he can be a player. The more minutes he's gotten, better he has performed for the Chicago Bulls. Double-digit scoring since Billy Donovan has started giving him 15 minutes plus in every single game. What is your feelings on Matas Buzelis? Do you like the young guy, and what do you see as far as his potential?
Yeah, man, I liked him a lot coming into the draft, and now that you're going to see extended run, I'll get a better feel for him. But what I have seen in the short burst he's gotten here over the last 5-6 games is a lot of potential, man, a lot of upside. One thing about him, he plays with a lot of joy. Like, he loves to play, and he's competitive, and he's got good athleticism. The question was going to be, for me, can he extend his range consistently? And I look at, over this stretch, he is basically 50% from the 3-point line over that stretch. Not super high value, but 4 or 5 a night is a good number. And he's shooting the ball at a pretty good clip from out there. So that's a nice sign. More opportunities, and he's shooting the ball well from there. That tells me it's in there. That's good. And then the last thing for him is going to be, like, can you continue to evolve with your manipulation of the ball off the dribble? Because ultimately, if you can't, you are limited at the NBA level, what your upside's going to be. So that's the next thing for him. But you got to love the way he runs the floor. You got to love the way he competes. He likes to play defense. He's got an extended run, and he's shown you that he could score at a higher level. So now it's just hey, man, is this guy a grinder in the offseason? What is he adding to his game? But I think he's absolutely a piece you move forward with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Billy Donovan has said he wants to put him in more pick and roll action to see what he does. Well, Gottlieb also said, a guy 6'10" with a handle is just something that's pretty rare in this league. So we should definitely be exploiting more of Matas Buzelis. Also, Matas is going to All-Star Weekend. It's going to be in the dunk contest. Do you think Matas can kind of, compete, pull this out? What are your feelings on Matas in All-Star Weekend as somebody that's been there?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he's the kind of guy you look at, because here's one thing. Like, I always look at it like this anymore. Who's it mean the most to? And I think he'd be a guy that would, he probably is envisioned, because he's a guy, you go back and look at the clips of him growing up, and I was doing a lot of research on him leading into the draft. So, I wasn't as aware of him as a player. I was, man, this dude got some serious bounce. Like, he likes to throw on anybody. So a guy like that, you can envision being one of those guys that probably stayed around practice for a half an hour. You just dunking the ball all the time. As soon as he was old enough to dunk a ball, like, because he just likes doing that. So a guy like that probably started thinking about being in the dunk contest one day, years ago. So now here he is. So it's going to mean a lot to him. He's going to have to get creative, put on a show, but it looks like he's capable of doing it.
Tim, I do want to know real quick about your experience, because you are the '96 champion in the 3-point contest. What was your experience like in that contest? I think George McLeod and like Glenn Rice were in that contest with you, man. What was your experience walking away the winner?
Steve Kerr, don't leave him off the list now.
Can't leave.
I got Steve too now.
Yes, sir. He won the next year. Yeah.
And he got me back the next year in the final. No, Steve and I have a lot of fun talking about those days. Look, for me, I can tell you this. I was a guy, took a different path. I played at a mid-major. I was not drafted. I went overseas. I went to the CBA, which was basically the G League now. And then I finally arrived on the scene, had a couple years in the league. I was playing well before I was in Washington that year. But going into that weekend, I was leading the league in 3-point shooting. And we were playing well as a team. And so people started to become nationally aware of me as an NBA player around that time. So obviously for me, I was like, listen, you want to make a statement and you pound the gavel that you think you're the best shooter in the world. What better place? So that I was very serious that weekend. Like, I went in there like, this isn't just, hey man, thanks for having me. I was like, no, I need to win this, because my path was different to get here than a lot of guys. And so I really want to seize this moment. And I was fortunate enough to have a great night shooting the basketball. Over a course of 3 minutes, I was able to put my name on that trophy, man. And I had some childhood idols on that trophy. Larry Bird won it 3 times. That was my favorite player. And now I'm like, hey man, my name's on that trophy too for eternity. So it was a big moment for me.
I know you got to go. Just one word real quick. Luka Doncic trade. One word. How did you feel?
Shocked. There's just no other way to. I'm still in a state of shock. I still can't believe what I just watched on Monday. I was calling that game and watching him in a Lakers uniform was very surreal.
Man, that's our guy, Tim Legler. Thanks for joining us, my man.
Yep, you got it.
We all silly like the mayor.